Self-worth, by definition, is knowing your own value without having to earn it or prove it. It's your host, Angelina, here to guide you on the worthy journey where you finally stop seeking validation and start owning your power. Ready to level up? Let's get started. Hey everyone, welcome back to The Worthy Journey. I'm your host, Angelina, also known as the Self-Worthy Coach, and I'm so happy you're here. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This episode is going to hit close to home if you've ever spiraled after reading a text with that tone, or maybe you walked away from a conversation what you did wrong and you spent days obsessing over something someone said, trying to decode what they really meant. If you've experienced any of those things, then this one is for you. Because here's the truth that changed my life. Most of the time, it's not even about you. And when you really get that, when it lands in your body, not just in your brain, you unlock a freedom that's unshakable. So today we're diving into how to stop taking things personally. And when I say stop, I don't mean becoming cold or detached. I mean becoming so rooted in your own worth that other people's projections and opinions don't rattle you. So in this episode, we're going to talk about why you take things personally, even when you don't want to, how to stop giving away your power to other people's opinions. We'll talk about what projection is and why it's running most of our relationships. Why needing constant validation is not your fault, but it is your responsibility to shift. And most importantly, how to build rock-solid self-worth from the inside out. By the end of this episode, you'll have the tools to stop spiraling every time someone doesn't like you, praise you, or understand you. And you can start showing up as your grounded, worthy, powerful self. And before we dive in, if there's ever a topic that you want me to talk about, please message me. You can DM me on Instagram, TikTok, or Facebook. You could even leave a comment below. All of my socials are at the Self-Worthy Coach. I genuinely love hearing from all of you. I respond to every single message. And if this episode resonates, please take 5 seconds to hit subscribe or share it with someone who needs to hear this, because no one is on this journey alone, and you never know who's silently struggling with this too. Okay, I want to start off by breaking something down that so many of us struggle with, but we rarely talk about in depth. Validation addiction. You might also know this as fear of rejection, abandonment wounds, or needing constant approval. Whatever name you give it, it all feels the same. It's when you need external validation to feel okay with yourself. Like your self-worth is on a leash and someone else is holding the other end. Validation addiction sounds intense, I know, but let's be real, it's way more common than we realize. It shows up when you're constantly checking your phone to see who liked your post, or when you replay a conversation in your head 27 times wondering if you said the wrong thing. When you walk away from someone being a little off, and then you spiral into it. What did I do wrong? Are they mad at me? It looks like this. Someone compliments you and you feel amazing. You're flying. You feel like Beyonce, just liked your Instagram post. Amazing. But then someone criticizes you and boom, you crash. Suddenly you're questioning everything about yourself, and it's not just, wow, that hurt. It's, am I not good enough? Did I mess up? Should I even be doing this in the first place? And this feels like emotional whiplash, like you're at the mercy of every compliment, every opinion, every glance, every K via text message, and you start to forget who you really are underneath all of it. Your confidence becomes a chameleon, constantly changing based on who's looking. But here's the truth. This isn't because you're overly sensitive or too much or too dramatic. It's because you're human and you've learned to tie your safety to people's approval. So let's talk about why. Our brains are wired for survival. That's the number one job of your mind, is to keep you safe. And if you grew up in an environment where love, attention, or safety felt conditional or inconsistent, your mind starts scanning for danger, emotional danger. And it did this by tuning into other people's moods or behaviors like a hawk. When we were kids, we depended on the adults around us, not just for food or shelter, but for emotional attunement, for acceptance, for love. And if the people around you were inconsistent, withdrawn, critical, or even just emotionally unavailable, your brain started doing the math. When I do this, I get attention. When I do that, I get ignored or punished. So what do? You adapt. You shrink, you perform, you make yourself likable, palatable, safe. You become a master of people-pleasing and mind-reading. Fast forward to now, you walk into a room and immediately start scanning the energy. You obsess over someone's tone in a text. You rehearse what you said 5 hours ago, wondering if it made you sound weird. You interpret silence as rejection. You take on people's moods as if they're your fault. All because your nervous system, the body's stress response, is trained to treat disconnection as danger. That hypervigilance that once kept you safe, it's keeping you stuck now. And listen, this doesn't mean you're broken. It means your body's doing exactly what it was trained to do. But that same survival pattern that protected you as a kid is now sabotaging your peace, your self-worth, and your relationships. Here's where things shift. Most people take things personally when they're not even about you. Seriously, let me say that again. Most of the time, what someone says or does has nothing to do with you. It's a reflection of their own thoughts, triggers, insecurities, pains, and projections. You're just a screen that they're projecting onto. This is what we call projection in psychology, when someone takes their inner experience and places it on you like it's your fault or your truth. Let me give you some examples. Someone calls you selfish because you said no. Maybe it's because they're not used to people having boundaries. That doesn't make you selfish. That makes them unfamiliar with your assertiveness. Or someone tells you you're too sensitive. Maybe they grew up in a household where emotions were suppressed and never allowed to exist. Or maybe they were punished for crying, so now they don't know how to hold someone else's vulnerability. If someone ghosts you after a really good connection, maybe it's because they have a deep fear of intimacy, and getting close to you triggered their abandonment wound, not yours. You see what I mean? People are constantly interacting with their own inner world. You're just the mirror reflecting it back to them. But I know I can already hear your brain going, okay, Angelina, how do I know what's me and what's them? Let me give you a silly example to help this land. Let's say someone walks up to you and says, ugh, I hate your purple hair, but you have brown hair. You'd be like, what the hell are you talking about? My hair isn't even purple. You wouldn't even take it personally because it clearly doesn't apply to you. It's not true. You might even text your friend about it like some random person just tried to insult me with imaginary hair color. But now let's say someone comments on something you are insecure about, maybe hairline, weight, or voice. Suddenly, that comment hits different. Even if it wasn't said with malice, you still spiral. Why? Because it's not their words that hurt you, it's your own unhealed belief that's being triggered. That comment activated a wound you already carry. This is why someone else's words only have power if they match something we already believe about ourselves. Someone else's words can only affect you if you agree to them. So in the book, The 4 Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz, he recommends to set an agreement with yourself to not take anything personally. Let that sink in. What you're most sensitive to is often where healing is being invited. That's why the answer isn't becoming numb to people. It's becoming rooted in yourself, knowing who you are so clearly, so deeply, so unapologetically that no one can come in and shake that. Because here's the real danger. If you don't validate yourself, you'll start outsourcing your worth to everyone and everything around you. You'll let your partner's moods, your boss's opinions, the number on the scale, or the likes on your selfie tell you how valuable you are. And that's not self-worth, that's self-abandonment. We often decide who we are based on how other people treat us. But here's the kicker. People don't treat you based on your worth. They treat you based on their own wounds, patterns, and beliefs. There's this quote that I love. I forget who it's by, so I'm sorry. We don't care about what other people think of us. We care about what we think other people think of us. Let that sink in for a second. We're not afraid of someone else's opinion. We're afraid that their opinion matches the voice inside of us that already believes we're not enough. So we reject ourselves before anyone else can. We become our own worst critic to try to protect ourselves. And listen, I get it. You've probably heard the whole love yourself first or don't take things personally advice 100 times. It's for sure become a cliche in the self-help world. But here's the thing. No one teaches you how to do it. There's not much information on how to build that unshakable self-worth from the inside out. And that's what I'm here to do. That's why I do this. So let me end this section with one final truth. You can't control what other people think. In fact, you don't even know what other people think. Their thoughts don't exist in your reality, which is in your head. Their thoughts only exist in their head. which means you are literally stressing over something that doesn't even exist in your current reality. You're carrying weight that doesn't even belong to you. And when you realize that, when you really internalize that other people's thoughts are just thoughts, suddenly you're free. You start to see that what someone thinks of you is none of your business. That's actually a book title. And what you think of you, well, that's everything. All right, now let's talk about how we actually stop taking things so damn personally, because I know the awareness alone isn't always enough. Sometimes you can understand the logic. You get that it's not about you. You get that you need to love yourself first, but it still feels like it's about you. So let's get into the tools to help you reclaim your power, become truly rooted from within, so that you're not constantly absorbing other people's projections and making them your truth. Because that's what this really comes down to, reclaiming your power. And that starts with remembering something so simple but so game-changing. You are the only thinker in your mind. You are the only person who lives in your head 24/7. No one else gets to decide your worth, your identity, or your value unless you let them. So when someone projects their unhealed pain onto you, or when someone withholds approval, ignores you, or judges you, your job is not to prove your worth to them. Your job is to pause, take a deep breath, and come back home to yourself. This means asking yourself, what's actually mine here? Is this feedback or is this a projection? Would I want to trade places with them in this specific area of life? Is this truly about me or is this about how they feel? Or do they even know me well enough to make this judgment? Because here's the thing. Not all feedback is helpful. Just because someone has an opinion doesn't mean it's necessarily valuable to you, especially in that specific area of life. Opinions are like Yelp reviews. Some are helpful, some are unhinged, and some people are just having a bad day and taking it out on the waiter. Don't internalize someone else's bad mood as a reflection of your worth. This is what emotional maturity looks like. It's not about never getting triggered. It's about learning to slow down, to zoom out, and to get curious instead of reactive. It's about being able to witness someone's reaction instead of immediately going into shame or panic, or I must have messed up. Instead, you create a moment of space. And in that space, you come back to your truth. You choose to not make their emotions your responsibility. Now let's talk about rejection, because I know this one stings the most. At least it did for me. The second tool is to reframe rejection. And I know that sounds cute and Pinterest worthy, but hear me out. This changed my life. Rejection is not proof that you're not good enough. It's not a personal attack. It's not the universe punishing you. Reframe that to rejection is redirection. Sometimes it's even protection. Think about it this way. Every time something didn't work out for you the way that you wanted to, it either made space for something better or it taught you something that you needed to know. You either grew from it or you were guided by it, even if it hurt like hell in the moment. I always tell my clients rejection is the universe's way of rerouting you. It's like a divine GPS. But the ego wants to take it personally. The ego says, I got rejected because I'm not good enough, because I'm unlovable, because I messed up, and this is just proof. And when you agree to that, when you believe that, you don't just feel pain, you become the pain, you embody it, you identify as it. But if you can learn to sit with the rejection without attaching a false meaning to it, you become powerful beyond measure. Now let's talk about mind reading, because this one is a major energy leak. This third tool is about learning to detach from mind reading. You know what I mean? Have you ever tried to decode someone's one-word reply, analyzing their tone, replaying their facial expressions, wondering if they like your story, why they didn't comment, if they sounded mad at you, if you should apologize for something that you're not even sure that you did? I mean, it's exhausting. Here's your reminder. You are not in control of other people's emotions, and other people are not in control of yours. Say that again with me. I am not in control of other people's emotions, and they are not in control of mine. Let that be a personal boundary, not just with other people, but especially with yourself. Because the truth is, we can't read minds. And half the time when we think someone's mad at us, they're just constipated or sleep deprived. Seriously, your peace is worth so much more than decoding their mood. You can also set energetic boundaries. This one's key. Not every comment deserves a reaction. Protect your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Write your boundaries on a sticky note, put it on your bathroom mirror, on your phone wallpaper, or on the fridge, or on your dog. Whatever it takes to remind yourself your energy is not for public consumption. Just because someone throws something at you doesn't mean you have to catch it, because half the time it's bullshit. We don't want to catch that. Tool number 4 is probably the most important of all. Before you go looking for someone else to say the right thing, to notice your efforts, or to compliment your growth, say it to yourself, out loud, in the mirror, in your journal. Ask yourself, what do I need to hear from myself today? And then say it. Say it before the world says it or doesn't, because you can't control when or if they do. But you can control how you speak to yourself. That's how you break the pattern of seeking approval like it's oxygen. Now, I know those tools are a lot to remember. You don't need to master all of this overnight. This is a practice, a journey, a worthy journey, and it's one day at a time. But if you want support with this, I actually created a tool to help you put this into practice every day in your life. It's called the Worthy Journal. It's available now on Amazon. I'll link it below. It's also on my website, theselfworthycoach.com. This journal was made to help you build emotional resilience, to start and end your day with your own validation, rewire your subconscious beliefs, track your triggers, and transform your thoughts in real time. This will help you feel grounded in who you are, regardless of how people respond to you. So if this episode is resonating and you're thinking, okay, I actually want to live this out, not just hear it, grab the journal. I use it daily. I promise it'll help you come home to yourself again and again. You don't have to live a life at the mercy of other people's moods or opinions. You don't have to keep bending and shrinking and spiraling to be loved. You are already worthy, and it's time to start treating yourself like it. Here's a reminder. One of my favorite mantras, I am not for everyone, and that's exactly the point. Think about it this way. You've heard the phrase, that's not my cup of tea, right? Well, not everyone likes sweet tea. Some people are obsessed with it. Like, they'll spend $7 a day on a venti ice, peach green tea, lemonade, extra sweet, and they drink it every day like their life or their headache depends on it. But someone else takes one sip and immediately spits it out and says, ew, what is this, sugar water? So who is right? Neither of them. It's just a preference. And Starbucks isn't going to take sweet tea off the menu because a few people don't like it, because other people love it. And that, my love, is the same with you. You're not here to be liked by everyone. You're not here to water yourself down, to change your flavor just to be digestible. You're here to be you, boldly, truthfully, and unapologetically you. And let the people who resonate with your presence come find you. I know that was a super random example, but try and apply this to your life. Apply it to the way you view your personality, your voice, your ideas, your laugh, your dreams, your boundaries. This is what it looks like to live authentically. And authenticity is one of the highest vibrations. It's even higher than love. Why? Because when you're truly authentic, you're in full alignment. There's no mask, no filter, no performance. It's just your soul, fully seen and fully expressed. And when you're in that vibration, you naturally attract people who match it. People who value the real you, not the version that you've curated to be liked, but the one that feels like home in your own skin. But the truth is, sometimes we care way too much about the opinions of other people that we don't even like. Let's be real for a second. You've done this, right? You're spiraling because you're afraid that Karen from HR or some random girl from high school doesn't like you. And you're like, wait, I don't even like this person, so why the hell do I care if they like me? That's the power of conditioning. We're trained to people please, to seek approval, even from people we wouldn't invite to dinner. Here's the shift. Not taking things personally doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you're detached, mean, or unbothered. It just means that you care more about your peace than your people pleasing. It means that you're finally choosing self-trust over approval. And when you stop outsourcing your worth, when your value is no longer dependent on how someone reacts to you, you start to reclaim your freedom. And that's when you become powerful. That's when you become magnetic. Because you're not wearing a mask or playing it small anymore. Because you're not wearing a mask or playing it small anymore, you're being you. And that's more than enough. If this episode helped you shift something inside, please share it with someone who needs it. Text it to your friend or post it on your story. Tag me at The Self-Worthy Coach. I'd love to hear your takeaways. And if you're ready to stop spiraling and to finally feel unshakable in who you are, apply for a free one-on-one coaching session at www.theselfworthycoach.com. You do not have to do this alone. This is why I'm here and I became a coach in the first place, to guide you towards your worthiness right now, just as you are. So thank you so much for being here. I love you all, and I'll see you next week on the Worthy Journey. Until then, stay worthy. This podcast is intended for inspirational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for mental health treatment or professional advice.